Writing can be a very lonely business. It's you or I sitting at our desk with a laptop or a notebook or some small device like an Alpha Smart Neo or an iPad and a little keyboard, and we're tapping away and we're producing the work that fills us with happiness, it inspires us, it keeps us busy. For heaven's sake, it really does keep us busy, and we end up with documents or sheets of paper that we turn into how-to books or stories or guides to climbing out of debt or helping ourselves or decluttering our homes, all those different things that matter to us as the author, sitting at our table with those ideas running around here all the time, giving us thoughts that we need to capture, that we need to commit to paper or to screen. And so having access to a community of writers is very important. I'm very privileged to be involved with a group in my hometown in England of Nottingham, with a group called Nottingham Writers Studio. There are more than 100 of us, and as little groups we interact and we meet up on a regular basis. I've never been to a meeting where everybody turns up, but there are a bunch of meetings over the course of any given month at our beautiful modern central library, and there might be 8 people or 12 people or 17 people come to a social event or a shut up and write group, and we have the opportunity to be in the room as a group of peers at all sorts of levels of life experience, publishing success, themes that are completely random between us, but to those of us who hold that belief or that system about, no, not that belief, for those of us who hold a commitment to the project that we are working on, that is what we believe in, that is what we want to create and what we want to do. So when you get the chance to step away from your desk and meet up with another author in a coffee shop or the sitting area of a public library, or you get a chance to meet up socially and go for a walk and talk through ideas and challenges, because there are many challenges in this writing life that can prevent us from doing what we want to do at the time that we seek to do it. And half of those challenges can be dissolved or broken down because of conversation, because of that opportunity to talk and to share and to take something like your notebook and a little pen and have those as the ideas or the reminder of the ideas in your notebook, like this little Nordley one, and you can take it to the coffee shop or you can take it to the pub table outside on a decent autumn day, and the 2 or 3 of you who gather there, you have this form of unity that says, we are the same, you're a writer, I'm a writer, they're a writer, and in that moment we are a tribe, a community, a group with common interest, and we have the ability to understand each other. When we go back to our homes, it may be that our family or our partner doesn't really understand what we do. They don't have the same passion for our creating stories out of random thoughts that come to us. Maybe they don't have the same process of observation that you and I have when we go to events, or we just walk down the street, or we jump on the metro, and we see things that lodge themselves in our mind, in our memory. And years later, we might pull those ideas out and use them. I was in a taxi 3 weeks ago. I was coming from a particular tube station, coming back to my home in Mexico City, and the driver didn't want to have a conversation. He didn't want to speak. He wanted to know where I was going, and that was it. There was no small talk, there was no nothing. And then I glanced at the passenger window where I was sitting in the back of the car, and there was an image, a government requirement for his taxi license. And there was an image of him on the window, writ fairly large, kind of 8x4 photograph. And what a severe face. But I jotted down his names. And I thought, I can use this in a story. In my story, I have a detective who doesn't drive and he uses public transport and taxis a lot. And the abruptness of my driver on that particular occasion has etched himself into my mind. But I got out my notebook and I wrote down his name and I took a photograph discreetly of the license image required by the government. Why am I talking about this? Because we, as writers, we observe things and we remember things. And one of the things that we remember, and you and I remember this in so many instances, is the people who have helped us and supported us in taking our dreams from the rough notes to a point where a book is finished and it's been edited and you're doing the cover design and then you publish it and you print it. 3 years ago, I started my YouTube channel and I started it as a very light-hearted challenge. It was, I think, a 10 episode process. We had to create 10 videos and upload those 10 videos over the course of what I think was 6 weeks. And it was a brilliant program run by Matt Raglan. And there are 2 people who I'm very fond of who are in that group. One of them is an author and her name is Tish Bouvier. And yesterday, Tish published her debut novel, which is an amazing achievement. It's a wonderful thing. And quite rightly, she was excited and she did a live video from outside her local coffee shop in Texas, a place where she often goes to write and where aspects of her book were created. But Tish is part of my community of support, just as are the people in my Nottingham Writers Studio critique group, or the other members of the writing group who come to one of the monthly Shut Up and Write groups that I and colleagues will take it in turns to host, because they are my community, they are my safe place. And so to see Tish produce her new book, this is my Kindle, and as soon as I heard the news of her having gone ahead with and actually managed to have her book published, I was so excited because Tish invited me, because I'm a writer and I'm part of her community, part of her tribe. She invited me to be an early reader, to get an advanced reader copy or what's called an ARC copy, if you've ever seen that phrase, ARC. So I was privileged a few months ago to read a decent first draft where she was saying to other friends and writers, would you do me a favour, would you read my manuscript and would you make a few notes and share those notes with me, come back to me with an email and look at plot or character naming or little things that pop out of the story when you and I are so close to what it is we're writing that we overlook it, or we are that far away from the words. We've seen them dozens or hundreds of times and things slip through. So I gave Tish feedback, other friends gave her feedback. When I produced my book about almost 2 months ago, Meaningful Work, Tish was one of the readers of my book. And being there for other writers is so important. We have to support one another, because if you remember when I started, I talked about the fact that writing is a lonely business. There's nobody here. I'm upstairs on the top floor of the house. It's getting dark outside. There's going to be a thunderstorm in a little bit. But I'm here on my own. I have to produce 500 words and then I'll go down and have some supper. But I'm on my own, except for those valuable moments when I can support other writers just as they support me. And I implore you to find an opportunity where you can support your friends who are writers, who are artists, who are creative people, and you can say, what can I do to help you? Can I read a manuscript? Can I give you feedback on a handful of chapters that you feel okay about? But also, can I buy your book when it comes out? The support that I get from people who are part of this community here on YouTube, it means so much to me. Yes, the channel is monetized. Yes, I get a few pennies and dollars every single month. But that's irrelevant. My son, who's staying with us here in Mexico at the moment, he said, do you do YouTube for the money? I said, no, it's never been an issue. I get paid and that's great. And you know, if you've seen recent videos, that always goes into investments. But I do it because I love it. And I do it because I love or enjoy or I like or I'm passionate about talking about books, about language, about how I struggle with ideas, and eventually I create a chapter, and that chapter may become a section of a book, and that book may get published. But here is my Kindle, and on the top of the screen here is the new book by Tish Bouvier. And I had the joy of reading it, as I've said, as an art reader, and the book's called Not, K-N-O-T, Before You Enter. And I'm going to click on the book, because that's what we do with our Kindles. So it's loading up. You can see that marker on the screen. Here we go. So here is some details of Tish's new book. Not Before You Enter, Maxine Gerrymatter Cozy Mystery Series. And away we go. And it says it's a typical time to read it of 5 hours, 14 minutes, 262 pages. And there's a picture of my friend Tish Bouvier, the author. And I'm showing this to say that we support each other. You and I as authors, if we are remotely interested in a topic that a fellow author is creating their content around, or the stories that they write. I've never read many cozy mysteries. I've probably read 5 or 6, but I've already read this one. So it was a joy to buy it and support Tish as a fellow author. I paid less than $5 for it as an ebook. It was downloaded instantly, and I can read the final copy, which is slightly different from what I read before. I can read that and enjoy it. Look at it, listen to this as an opening line. I'm going to show it you first on screen and then read it. How in the world did a simple drive with my son Otis turn into an accidental kidnapping? How indeed. And it got me straight away. And I've read the book and I know what's coming, but I can't remember who did it. And that will be the joy of reading this again. Support your fellow authors. Do what you can to encourage them. It's not just a case of buying their book, but when you buy the book, write a review. When you write a review, if you can, include a photograph of the book, or I might do I'll do a cover screenshot image along with my words of the cover page of Tish's ebook. When Meaningful Work came out, several people did, for the first time I've ever had, the first few testimonials on Amazon have all been done by friends and people I interact with on YouTube. Everybody's uploaded a picture of the cover of my book along with their keyboard or their notebook and their fountain pens. And that's people supporting me. I didn't ask for that, but it's been wonderful to have. And when you think about your career as a writer, whether you are published by a traditional publishing house, whether you are an indie, i.e. an independent author, and you work for yourself and you wear all the different hats of creator, marketer, cover designer, newsletter operator, all these different things, you want the support of the people who believe in you. You want the support of the people who say, yes, I'll buy your book. And not only will I buy your book, but I'll give you a glowing testimonial. Just as when you do the same for them, you are supporting them just as you hope for support from other people. So this is my way of saying, support your tribe, participate in your tribe, be a part of the writing community in the same way that you want others to be a part of your little group of supporters, of people who believe in what you do and who will follow you and who will purchase your books and who will be raving fans for you. You only need a few hundred people to support you and believe in what you do for you to make a meaningful impact on the world with your books. 1,000 readers of every new title that comes out. Maybe you write one book a year. But those 1,000 people could lead you to 2 or 3 or 4,000 people because of their testimonials and their support and their endorsement. Keep it simple. What did we say right at the beginning? Writing is a lonely business. Writing is you and I on our own, at our desks, at our kitchen tables, at the plank bench in the cupboard under the stairs, or in that little table in the corner of the public library where we feel comfortable and safe, and we can sit there with our flask of water or our cup of coffee, and we can get on with the work we were born to do, which is to create. Go out and think about the authors you can support. Think about the people who have supported you. Say thank you to them. And every time they bring out a book, become a fan, become a loyal reviewer of their product. And let's support each other as we enjoy this journey of ongoing creativity. Wherever you are, happy writing.